this season. Normally a Tom champion, but is 1-0 on this season. Of course, very small sample size. Where do you go then? Gragas, available. Yep, it's the one locked in. How about yourself? Gragas, Alistair, Rumble, perhaps the three champions we talk about as being first pickable. Where do you go?
If I was IM here, because I'm not really worried about Bengi's Gragas, I would be much more worried about Wolf's Alistair and the way that SK Telecom will decisively dive around that particular pick. The Cassiopeia up still as well. So the question here, I imagine Frozen's going to pick the Cassiopeia in the next round of the draft, just given his champion pool and the fact that it's a relatively safe blind pick. So I think you probably take... Well, you're going to take the Rumble here. I definitely agree with that. And whether you take the Alistair here, I think that's probably a good pickup as well. So you get Rumble Alistair. You may let them have the Cassiopeia as a result. Cassiopeia Sivir might be good here for IM.
And then is it time for the Hoon to bring his competitive debut on Victor? We know he's been practicing it. I was looking at the builds, gone for the Lichbane like Faker, then had another game where it was just Abyssal CDR. So definitely experimenting with the meta champion and the meta items on that champion. You have to feel like that's probably going to loom as the mid lane matchup, but you're never quite sure with Easy Hoon.
No, you're not. And Frozen also a notable Victor player, and that has been a relatively safe blind pick as well, so that's another way. But I think you take the Cassiopeia here, and I think you take the Sivir too, and just try and deny that as much as possible. There's no reason to take the Thresh right now, but they're going to grab it.
It's interesting to see the early prioritization on Thresh. With Annie banned out, it's another pick or engage support that Wolf's been playing, but he's already got the Alistair, so... Yeah, they've already given away an engaged support, and they choose to pick up the Thresh early rotation. Easy Hoon's at least flashing the Varus. It makes sense to some degree. He's good at the wave clear champions, but maybe this is the Easy Hoon special. Beat a champion and then show him how to play it.
Well, this will be his competitive debut on that Varus. Obviously, Faker has had some very good Varus games, so a lot of talk between those guys. I'm sure they've shared a lot of information about how to play that champion. Rek'Sai probably just going to be the name of the game again for Bengi here, his comfort champ in the last several months, that's for sure. Corki Varus could be going for a big mid-game siege with that Rumble right now. They have insane dive pressure, too, with that Alistair and his ultimate. This is a very strong composition, but I think you're going to save that Varus for last. Make sure that you're going to be A-OK on that champion.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of backline threats. I think IM will be considering some sort of hyper carry coming through from Raw. He's flashing the Draven and Twitch. I think that's the kind of identity of champion they need to go for. They have Cassiopeia, who can theoretically fight next to and be kind of a peel source. They have both the engage and disengage that Thresh and Gragas can provide. Lucian would be a much more safe pick, but we're waiting to see what they lock in for both AD carry and the top position.
I mean, Vayne is a really good pick here as well, honestly. If you pick Vayne Hecarim, you're going to be pretty comfortable with that Gragas, making sure those targets are isolated for Vayne and Cassiopeia. Now, whether they want to lane Vayne, given how hard they lost in the early game last time, is the question. So the decision going through IM right now is, do we take the Vayne, which Roar has been pretty decent on, or do we take the Lucian, try and dominate the lane and play for that late game, or at least try and make more of a run at it? And that's going to be the choice.
I think it's smart that SKT haven't committed to a mid laner, because what they pick really influences what mid laner you can go for. If they locked in the Varus, suddenly you choose that lane pressure and you try and emulate SKT's playstyle and start trying to commit to keeping away the blue buff, counter jungling in that situation. Now you're flexible to go for a different identity here if you're SKT, and we're waiting to see where Easy Hoon wants to go. You have to think Varus or Victor loom as the pick here.
Even Vlad is fine here, honestly. You're still going to be able to dive with that champion, and Easy Hoon, that is a comfort pick for him. I do agree that the Varus or the Victor are going to be better.
I feel like Vlad without a backline dive buddy, you could argue Alistair, but sometimes hard to pull off. I think it's risky if you go for the Vlad. It does feel kiteable in this particular scenario. You could even just use the Gragas to bounce, and Wayne will lock in the Varus. Competitive debut for Easy Hoon on Varus.
Yeah, this is right up his alley, though, in terms of champions. He's been playing a lot of these long-range casters for so long, and it's hardly a surprise. And he's been doing well with a lot of tier champions in this meta also. So the Varus pickup, SK Telecom sort of all in right now on that early game. They've got great dive potential, lots of crowd control. this is a really nice composition, and SKT just going to try and hit that same timing they did last game and overwhelm IM. IM going to be much more item dependent with that Hecarim in the top lane. They're going to need some time, and I honestly think it's up to Roar and Ignar to really win this 2v2 lane, or they're going to be in trouble.
I need to buy time for Apple, who will find a lot of success diving the backline in the late game. There's very low peel. Alistair probably going to be needing to use his CC for some semblance of engage, so the peel's not really there. Apple has taken over a game on Teleport Ignite Hecarim and shut down a 5-0-0 Jinx previously this season, so he has shown an aptitude to do it. Fully enough against SKT, a bigger ask.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't think that Apple's going to have the time to really take over this game right now. We'll see how well Tuzin can contain Bengi. And mid lane should be pretty farm-oriented. Tier champions down there. So a lot of it's going to be the action in the side lanes. Roar and Ignar looking to overpower. Let's see if they can have a stronger early game, if they can punish Bang in that weak early game that he has on Corki, or whether SKT is just going to sweep through in the mid game and take it once again. Very lively audience here today.
Full voice. It is notably super early here by Korean standards for an esports event. Only about 1 p.m. at this present time. Don't have my watch on me, but started at 12 and we're into game 2 after a 30-minute game, so I'll do the math.
Who wears watches these days, Papa Smithy?
Yeah, we use phones. Let's be real.
The only reason to have a watch is to show off your $20,000 Rolex.
Sometimes
I'm not quite esports rich enough for that yet, Papa.
Najin finds a use for a watch as well.
Well, debatable, sir. Very
they
debatable.
They find a use. I'm not saying that they need a watch. I'm saying they have a watch, and they've been doing some winning.
Oh, boy.
One day we'll see Peanut again.
One day he will emerge from his chrysalis as a fully formed jungler. A beautiful, beautiful butterfly. Hopefully not a moth.
No, that'd be bad. Something akin to the Monarch Cogmore skin is what you're saying.
That'd be good. I'd like that. Also Tank, also just in his chrysalis right now as well, biding his time in solo queue.
Is there a champion that comes into the meta that instantly screams tank? Is there something that might actually spur on his re-debut?
I don't know, actually. I mean, he's known as a very good Twisted Fate player. Some success on Xerath as well.
So we're going to see Easy Hoon on the Varus this time after completely dominating a Varus last game. Will IM try and put the same priority in denying blue buff? Because that seemed to be a really successful strategy for SKT.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they actually have that pressure. Of course, once that Rumble gets the ultimate, you're in a situation where if both top laners teleport, the Rumble's going to have huge advantage early compared to the Hecarim. So it may be a riskier proposition to invade that blue this time around. And that Alistair also, that major early game threat, can really turn fights on his head.
So two ganking junglers, Gragas and Rek'Sai locked in. I guess one thing we should talk about, Apple takes Ignite on the Hecarim, so perhaps there is some merit in ganking early for the Hecarim. He does have a displacement, he has Ignite that might be relevant in an early trade. Rumble always has that penchant to overextend when he's trying to push and harass with the Flame Spitter. Usually you kind of want to leave the Hecarim on an island, as, speaking of islands, Tuzin and Bengi right on top of each other in the jungle, and no one responding from the mid lane just yet.
Bengi level 3 right there, though. Tuzin tries for the turnaround explosive cast, but not, or body slam rather. Not going to find a Roar with a little bit of an exhaust problem down here. Has to flash the pull. It's a nice trade. Exhaust for a flash on the AD carry. You'll be happy to see that if you're SK Telecom.
Bengi looking for the immediate re-engage, but good defensive ward from Ignar and has to move away.
Pretty quiet after that attempt on the Varus in the mid lane, parried by Bengi's jungle pathing. Bengi now taking a look at this Cassiopeia, pretty full HP right now.
But sees that the minion wave is going to push in, so he's looking for that small spot to get on top of Frozen. Of course, quite brittle in the mid lane is the Cassiopeia. Doesn't have the hugest health pool, but the harass is the thing you remember if you're enemy mid laner.
All right, counter jungling coming through right as those Raptors spawn again. You can see Marin there with a ward. That has been one of Marin's biggest flaws, is knowing when he's about to get ganked in that top side. Instead, gets the Trinket ward down this game. It's an encouraging sign. The top laner, he does have a tendency on Rumble to pointlessly die. He'll give up first blood.
Well, there's a point to it. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to try and dominate lane, but needlessly, perhaps, is the word I would use.
Well, okay, fair enough. Usually he has that ward off cooldown in his inventory and just neglects to walk into the river to place it.
He'll have a great time to place it when he comes back from base with his big shop.
His big shop and his nice green ward that he has to buy. Well, okay.
I'm actually controlling the wave quite well on bottom lane. He's going to slowly push towards. They're not going to deny really any CS away from Bang. They must know that Tusin's on that side of the jungle, so accordingly, playing very defensively in bot are Bang and Wolf.
Yeah, Marin actually choosing for... Oh, just going to stick around right there. Does hit that level 5, so not actually going to be going back yet. Just very little threat right there, especially with Bengi top already.
But the change of Summoner spell does open up more aggression and options for Apple. And again, for IM, you can play around the Ignite and gank the lane. You don't have to rely on Apple to kind of sort things out himself, leave lane when he needs to pick up jungle camps with the Smite. With the Ignite, an option to gank for him, and again, more early burst damage. It's probably going to be the Trinity Force Rush as well, because you don't need to fit in the Cinder Hulk into the build.
Yeah, arm guard first, actually, for Marin, so being very respectful of this Hecarim, and here we go, Marin coming up with the Chilling Smite already down, misses the Harpoon, but Apple is dead, 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 barbecued. I don't know, I wouldn't like some barbecued horse, I don't think.
Oh, I mean, look, he's pretty fabulous, the robot unicorn Hecarim. Maybe he's not quite as tough as a traditional horse, maybe there is that meaty center you can get to, but maybe in general you're right.
I don't mind horse meat. Barbecued horse, though, probably not. You know, last time I was in Japan, I had raw horse meat. It was delicious.
Delicious, you say?
It was very good.
Okay. Will that be horse tartare?
Yeah, horse tartare. I do like steak tartare. I like raw beef a lot.
Which seems pretty common here in Korea. I'd already had it a couple of times despite only being here a few weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Raw meat is the best. That's how you eat it. Yeah, it's the safe cuts right there, you know.
We're being disrespectful. Alistair was on the screen. Maybe we should lower our voice a bit when we're talking about prime beef.
Oh, wow. Becky just coming in right there, just ignoring Tusin. Has to go over the wall. Awkward engage. Looks like he didn't expect Tusin to be there. Late reaction. Will Frozen pay for this? No. Easy Hoon. Not willing to commit. Rumble coming down from the top lane, though. Everybody's starting to collapse right now. Wolf zoning out Ignar, and that's going to be SKT arriving in the mid lane first.
Yeah, 9 members of the 10 actually responding to mid lane. Only Hecarim decided that top lane farm was that much more important.
He has TP.
And not so impactful in the early game anyway, so probably just did the sums and thought, minions more important.
Wow, so a little bit interesting right there. Bengi looked like he was caught unaware by the immobile Gragas in that situation, not seeing Gragas in that brush. So no harm, no foul though. Just a cleanse popped by Frozen while Easy Hoon hit him with the Chain of Corruption. And still relatively slow early game here. A whole lot of edge. Bengi going to look for a lane gank, and he's going to get seen immediately. Trinket ward down in the brush.
Yeah, Flash is up on Wolf, so they were thinking about the Flash engage as Bengi pathed into bottom. But smart little Trinket ward predicts that particular aggression. When you're talking about early power spikes, with the pickaxe picked up, you know, a few more combat stats for Easy soon. Still, the base damages from Cassiopeia mean she's probably still going to win trades. It's interesting, they have a lot of early pressure from the jungle. Rumble definitely has the advantage over Hecarim in early. I'd say there's a slight early game skirmishing advantage coming through to SKT, but tears abound in mid lane.
Yeah, and now the question is, can they set up on this lane pressure and actually move for the dragon? They really want to get it now while this Rumble is strong comparatively to this Hecarim. Frozen's going to get caught out. Equalizer down already. There's the hail of arrows. Frozen just gets autoed one last time. Auto comes in at a weird angle after Frozen's flash right there, but Easy Hoon just shoots sideways and picks up the kill.
He didn't cancel the auto attack, of course, with the flash movement spell. Would have got the kill with that last poison. Tucson flashes in. There's the engage from Hecker and picks up the kill. But he does not have any combat stats, so lucky to get out his apple, but all in all, a 1-for-1.
Yeah, nice little turnaround right there. That's actually going to prevent the Dragon from going down, surprisingly. So good play from Apple and Tucson to clean up on that kill right there. They're going to come back around on Tucson, though, overheating Marin with the auto attacks. That is a dead Fat Man. So Bengi and Marin looking to make a play on this blue buff right now, just being a little tricky. And they didn't have to respond up in the top side with no immediate wave pressure.
Looked like it was going to be a replay of game one. Once again, blue buff was trying to be monopolized. On a bit of headbutt pulverize onto Roy. He's falling super low. Doesn't look like Bang's going to get the auto attack, though. They hook him in. Wolf doesn't take a turret shot, though. Is actually aggroing onto the minions. Both of them super low. We're waiting to see if Bang wants to get crazy aggressive with the flash phosphorus bomb, but for now,
he's not going to do it. They don't have any items yet. Neither AD carry is actually recalled at this point, so committing to a big play right there with such low damage, probably not going to be the best idea in the world. So there's not really a great follow-up right there, besides perhaps denying some CS and forcing Roar and Ignar back out of lane right now. Bengi with the dive, though. Marin wants it. Marin's equalizer's up right now. It just came up, but they're not going to go for it.
Apple with the smooth moves, the red buff, and the equalizer, as you mentioned. It's great communication. Once again, the head buff. Oh, is there enough damage? Flash is used this time, but the answer is no.
I don't really think that was worth it right there. They got a flash out of Ignar, but Bang with the flash forward had no mana and just not enough damage to finish that kill off. So a little bit overly aggressive. We'll see if SK Telecom can get some good damage down on the turret or whether their play is just going to be a recall. Looks like that will be it.
And I accept your skepticism about when I first threatened the flash, just because if Bengi was on the same side of the map, maybe you parlay aggression into a dragon, but Bengi has spent this whole time both looking to turret dive the apple, Apple, and now picking up the red buff. There's no neutral to pick up.
Holy cow.
As this is something Marin's done before. He's committed to a Medjai's. The disrespect is real.
The disrespect is real.
No, but like seriously real.
Yeah, arm guard into Medjai's is what a crazy snowball build. Now, they could definitely make it work the way they've been playing tonight, the lead they already have, and the fact that they're going to be hitting their power spike pretty soon. So this is not necessarily bad. It's just risky.
I know how you feel about snowball picks and snowball items as Wolf finds and face checks a lot of damage. Ignar's caught by 3 members. Hasn't fallen just yet, but will die now with Rumble teleporting in.
Wow, that explosive cast getting Wolf right into position to continue the CC. There you go. Rocket will be the finisher on that one, and Apple still getting a lot of phosphorus bombs. Frozen trying to tank right here, but everyone just piling in. Not afraid to go all the way to the base wall. Wolf with the combo. Can they finish? Frozen so low, and that'll be it. Bang on auto. It'll be the final attack right there. Marin just starting to get a lot of stacks on that Medjai's. 9 already.
Sitting on 9, picked up a kill credit and a couple of assists. The flat AP amount, 181, is crazy for a Rumble. Is still building his core items. Bang face checks Raw. They're in a really even duel, but opens up space and backs away.
Yeah, Ignar there, and they may go for this. That may have been a lantern too far. Nope, death sentence. Looks like Wolf too low to follow up on much of anything at all, but that is just a great skirmish from SKT. But honestly, a lot of that was Tucson's poor barrel placement and the fact that he actually drove the Alistar deeper into the fight to secure more kills.
I was actually trying to work out why it looked like he was scurrying towards the backline, but it was just the helping hand of Gragas. With the extra AP that you don't normally account for Rumble, the one thing you can say Marin can do is actually push these waves much better than the standard Rumble can do.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much we'll see that be a factor. I mean, Apple's still just sitting on Merc treads. There's a play from Ignar. Misses the death sentence after the play. Okay, well, IM wants to get some level of control over this dragon. Grabs the crab.
Varus comes back from base. Mana Moon and Brutalizer, so the pokes are definitely going to be hitting. Doesn't have a blue buff yet, though, so that's probably a factor. It looks like one riding on both Bang and Bengi after the previous skirmishes. Yeah, in terms of combat stats up top, 303 Marin, even though he's gone for the snowball, just has so much more than the Hecarim can deal with, at least at the moment.
Yeah, picking up a kill and 2 assists in that last fight for his Magi, so he's already doing very well with that item. And Apple just has to watch his turret melt in front of him. Apple just gets chunked out right there while SKT goes for this intelligent equalizer because he doesn't want Apple TPing in on this with TP advantage. He's going to do it anyway.
He's going to get some damage onto Apple. He's going to come in at half health, watching the Dragon to see if there is going to be an engage. They're going to put everything onto doing the jungle, but it resets and gets healthy again.
Oh, the poke.
Rumble takes the turret from the backline. Chains of Corruption misses. EasyHoon's going to get aggressed onto. He's going to die at the start. No, he flashes back. It's at about half health. Tucson is still very, very low. The Dragon's actually still alive throughout this whole fight. It's finally secured by Lucian, though. They pick it up and 2 kills, so big trade coming through for IM.
They're not done yet, though. Bang looks like he still wants to fight. There's a heal to catch up onto Wolf, and there's the orb. Wolf will get poisoned. Wolf will die as well on a rather awkward re-engage before Marin can walk all the way across the map. Marin right there. Now, they got greedy. They wanted to do that Dragon, and Marin thought he had the answer, even though they didn't have TP advantage, which was just to put the damage down onto Apple and force him to come in at 50% HP. But EasyHoon was just not in position right there. He was trying to poke from the outside and got caught on the flank instead.
And 3 kills and a Dragon in exchange for just 1 turret coming through for SKT as Marin took down the top turret as Apple teleported down. They're actually chasing on to Marin.
Marin has no equalizer.
No equalizer, has flash available. There's no ultimate from Hecarim, just not the CC to actually be able to impact and push the Rumble towards the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, backing off right now. SKT, it's like they want to play it a little bit more passively after that disastrous Dragon fight. Saw them fall behind. Man, and that was really quite cocky this early in the game to make that play, and they were really punished by Incredible Miracle, even though Apple did have some issues. Ignar and Tucson here on the top side right now. Apple can't get a great devastating charge down. There's a flash to prompt this. No real turnaround. Marin just defensively equalizer-ing.
The flash for flash trade between the Thresh and the Rumble will probably suit IM in that particular situation. All this turret damage, though, is very awkward. You never want Varus to be able to take down that outer turret early because it just means you'll ward up and then rain arrows from out of vision. Benki's looking to steal blue. There's still multiple members of IM closing in.
Has that tunnel, though, through the thick part of the wall, and no real follow-up. And they're going to lose a mid lane turret for this blue buff, though. It's hanging by a thread as it was. So
is that PTSD from the previous game where Frozen never got to pick up a blue buff, then you overcommit for blue, and SKT punishes you for turrets? Maybe that's giving them too much credit, but that's what can evolve in series. You don't forget what happened in game 1, and those points that you focus on the previous game, if you set up defenses around them, something else has to give across the map.
That turret was so low, though, I think it was kind of a lost cause in the first place, but yeah, that is true. I am really being very defensive about those blue buffs this game. You can also tell, look at the number of wards on that blue buff side. Just 2 pink wards, and I think that says a lot as well. Having 2 pink wards around a blue buff this early on into a game is quite unusual.
SKT have picked up 2 turrets, though. A Dragon and blue buff control for 2 turrets. Probably going to give it to SKT in the early game, but at least I am reacting to what happened in the last game and trying to open up spaces for themselves to do well. The chip damage in bottom has come through from Trinity Force Corki. Are they going to look to get the 3 out of turrets? It seems like that's what SKT are going to focus on in the first 20 minutes.
Well, why not? They have TP advantage right now. It's their time to shine if IM really wants to commit to taking this turret and defending it right here. They have that freedom to get into the enemy jungle as well with how many towers are already down, especially that mid lane. So let's see what they do right here. Rumble needs to start looking for the teleports now.
SKT really want to fight in a choke with the high AP. Now both magic penetration items completed as well. The equalizer at level 12 is a massive proposition. If they cannot correctly get away from it, if we're talking about 3 ticks on multiple members, it should be an easy fight for SKT.
It's Hecarim with the Phage too, just not going to be that impactful. Marin also with a huge CS lead.
It's been the story. 44 CS in top, 20 CS in mid lane, even a slight advantage in the bot lane. jungle pressure's probably been the big factor that's opened that up, and just smart teleport plays from SKT.
Yeah, more reserved, more passive than I think they need to be right now. They can definitely play into the enemy jungle, but they are just slowly pushing forward after that last dragon, and quite in their favor.
I guess the question is, what are they looking for in terms of timings? Because they just opened up time for Apple to pick up teleport as well, so there will be mirror teleports if we do see a big engage. They finally get a minion wave and pressure around bottom, so this should be, without having to invest a teleport, the 3 outer turrets down for SKT.
Well, they lost that timing anyway. I think they definitely had an opportunity to dive, or at least to continue to ward up the enemy jungle, and they really didn't either. They committed just to a very slow push into the bottom side turret. They did get it in the end, and they do increase their gold lead to 5K. But this Rumble needs to be used right now. He is the big carry on this team at the moment.
And they're buying time for Apple to slowly become relevant. We mentioned during Champion Select, excellent backline damage threat is the Hecarim, especially with Trinity Force against both EasyHoon and Bang. Okay, Bang has a very big reposition in the Valkyrie, but EasyHoon can be assassinated. Even with the cleanse, we're talking about big burst damage coming through from the Trinity Force. If the next fight is at a Trinity Force power spike from Hecarim, there's a fight that IM wins against this SKT lineup.
Yeah, the positioning for the Varus, you have to be so careful against the explosive cask as well. All right. Everyone's starting to collect 15 seconds until this next dragon. SKT with the presence at the moment, taking out all of the wards that IM has placed, and I think this is where you give this one up, although Hecarim is recalling right now.
Let's see how big an item he can pick up. It needs to be the completed Trinity Force, I think, to justify. I was going to ask you, do you give it up? It seems like that's the smart move when you've already picked up a dragon for yourself. I think you have to watch your power spikes.
You have to give this up. All he got was a brawler's glove right there, and he's thinking about what he wants to do in this. About what he wants to do in this situation, if he wants that home guard teleport or not.
Look, I am buying time. Poking around the dragon is a good thing. It's committing to the fight that I think is the big issue. The more time they buy for Apple, the happier they will be. If this game rolls around to 35 minutes with a similar lead for SKT, it's not ideal for IM, but they have team fights and windows they can take. But it looks like they're going to commit. There's the teleport from Apple.
And there's the pickup, actually. EasyHoon with the finisher onto the dragon. Apple charging in, but he gets turned around immediately by the headbutt. Wolf going to pop his ultimate, and they isolate Tucson on the side. Marin has to flash over the wall. EasyHoon still with the poke after the chain of corruption, which immobilizes Roar during the culling. Hook lands on the Hoon, but Bang with the Valk over the side to get the poke down. So nobody actually dying in that engagement, but Marin not having to use the port either. Bengi gets knocked around by the explosive cast. More and more poke from the piercing arrows. Another flash forced by Incredible Miracle.
In terms of relevant summoners, Marin did not have to use teleports. There is a potential teleport window in the next, 4.5 minutes where you can really get something done if you're Marin. So I think that's the most critical summoner that needs to be discussed when we're talking about this particular dragon. Remember, teleport was channeled from Apple after dragon was already down for SKT. So they invested a big global teleport for just a bit of poking around dragon.
And here we go. Apple gets knocked up, has to ult out. Will he live? Looks like the Petrifying Gaze will save them, but it will not save the blue buff. Unfortunately, Frozen denied yet another one.
And whenever SKT look to do those invades, whether it's fighting over the enemy blue buff, whether it's skirmishing, they have to always remember Marin has this teleport. He was the one on the other side of the map. They engage a fight where globally disparate, where only Marin will be able to respond. So they would always outnumber IM. They choose to focus once again on the blue, and you can see, even with all those defensive wards, they're preyed upon. Benki's low, and his teleport, his back was cancelled. Nice pickup from Apple, but lazy recall from Bengi.
Very lazy indeed, and that Ignite, securing that kill, Marin has to pop the equalizer just to save the tier 1. Clear out the minion wave. Well, dodging between death sentences. Roar's going to get it anyway and escape with a nice little lantern play from Ignar.
More aggression than I expected, but Apple getting free time. Doesn't have the Trinity Force yet, but with the Sheen, still going to be a dead turret.
And look at Tuzin's positioning as well. Cutting off any possible reinforcement, playing very safe right now so they can just continue to secure objectives. Now they're pulling within 3K gold of SKT.
Knocking down some of the standing gold that was separating the two teams. Another turret, and we're going to start getting really evened up. They're going to look for this engage onto Marin. He's already fallen low. Doesn't have that many combat stats. Remember, he used his snowball gold onto a Magi. Doesn't fall, though. Keeps the stacks up, and Wolf is here.
Wolf is here. Marin, no equalizer. There's the piercing arrow from the side. Chain of Corruption will miss. As a flash from Tuzin gets him out of range. Well, Marin so low right there. Very dangerous. No equalizer, no flash, walking into that lane. But that was actually really good patience from Tuzin. Made Marin think that he was safe in that scenario and then ambushed him. So SKT not with the wards they need and not thinking ahead as to where this jungler could be on the map.
And look, playing around team fights where Marin can just mop up assists and stack up that Magi's is probably smart from Longzhu IM. If he'd used that 1400 gold on finishing the Zhonya's, 5-6 minutes earlier, picking up maybe a giant spell into Rylai's, it would have been so much harder to skirmish against this Rumble, but he's gone for that greedy build, and there are ways to deal with it. So it's good to see IM recognizing that and playing around it.
Yeah, playing to that top side of the map, just trying to shut him down, but they have yet to do it. That one kill onto Marin remains elusive. And with that Zhonya's, it's going to be even harder to get now.
Flash probably going to be available for the next fight as well. About 25% left on that cooldown. Not been that much kills. I mean, there was a lot in the early game, but the last two fights ended up with no one dying as Raw once again getting cute trying to do turret damage.
He's doing a good job, though. He actually is turning on the heat. Easy Hoon just dying straight up at the blue buff.
They just didn't expect this sort of aggression around blue buffs. They were the ones monopolizing blues in game one with SKT. This time, IM plays into their playbook and steals away both the kill and that blue.
Well, SKT got the wards up onto their top side after the gank onto Marin, but they totally neglected that bottom side. And again, SKT not playing with a lot of respect, face-checking the jungle repeatedly right here, and IM getting the picks. And now they're back within 2.5.
Yeah, the positioning from SKT, twice from Easy Hoon, once when poking around the dragon when Apple teleported down, now just walking into an unwilded bush. Will we see an engage? Wolf activates the ultimate.
Nope, just getting bounced around by Tuzin right there. They want to keep the pressure onto this lane, and that was quite a bit used right there for not really any stall time whatsoever. Apple just face-checking the Raptor brush. I mean, they knew Corki was in the mid lane. That was a bit odd.
Rumble was in vision. Rumble actually 2 levels ahead. That's the explosive cast use. Bengi's low. These fights, we're not seeing the decisive engage.
Deep Key coming in right there. Wolf. And there's the elimination onto Roar as they find him. Frozen gets caught out front. And there's another couple of kills for Corki as the teleport was not respected. And Roar got way too far forward. Wolf just bouncing him around.
2 damage dealers are down for IM. They're in full retreat, but Marin and Easy Hoon, there's no options left for Tuzin.
There's the poke. Tuzin going to dodge the piercing arrow, but Marin still with that scrap shield.
It's level 16 to level 11 Gragas.
Yeah, this is not going to end well. Bang here to ensure that it indeed does not. Bye.
Marin definitely did not want to give that kill credit over to Corki. He's gone for the snowball option, 12 stacks. Look, it's paid off.
It definitely has paid off for the moment. And likely will continue to, especially as this dragon is now live. And SKT has the positioning on it. They have all the wards around it right now. The only thing IM can see is the enemy jungle, and Apple just going to be chased around in circles right now. Tries to deal some damage to this Rumble. Scrap shield will get him out. He knows Ignar's there. Awkward.
Yeah, we're waiting till there's enough damage. The CC should be enough. Marin, those stacks are going to go, but he overheats with the Flame Spitter. Nice moving away. 12 stacks become 6, and a big shutdown for Hecarim gets him a lot of much-needed experience as well.
Yeah, big gold gain, big experience gain. He is 2 levels down, but that is huge. And you know, IM, they committed to the top side. They wanted to take out Marin. They gave up the dragon for it. They knew what they were doing. So objectively, SKT comes ahead, but that is a tough pill to swallow right there for Marin, who had spent so much of this game trying to get those stacks for his use and to snowball out of the mid game.
And just to visualize what is lost for Marin, of course, going down from 12 to 6 stacks, we're talking about 48 AP. That's 950, almost 1,000 gold worth of AP lost for Marin. So suddenly he goes back, he picks up an amp turn. That's not even enough to arrest what he lost from that engage.
Well, he got a Leandris as well. Easier to just base checking the blue buff again, and that's going to be the end of him. Apple with the TP coming through. Tucson with the kill, but that's it. I mean, Marin here on the side as well. Now he's going to push forward. He's going to face check this brush.
Can't fight on the equalizer, though. They're moving away. They use the explosive cast to get him off from the equalizer. It's going to be another kill for IM. SKT's positioning. Bengi's hit by the death sentence. Does he have Flash? He does, so he could potentially get away. Flashes away defensively. Only really Hecarim doing damage of these three, but that's two really nice picks for IM.
And they get the blue buff onto Frozen as well, but why would you keep face checking this side of the jungle is the question from SK Telecom. They've now died 3 times in bottom side, 2 from EasyHoon, 1 from Marin now, and those stacks are just dwindling for Marin. That item is no longer even gold efficient.
No, it's actually incredibly not gold efficient. I believe 24 AP plus the 20 in the build, so 48 AP for 1,400 gold. Is a ripoff. The shopkeeper got one over on in this game.
I think Marin got one over on himself, just given his play, which was so tight early on. And he has been targeted from LZIM, but that last kill in particular was a freebie.
So the Blade of the Ruin King used on Apple should be able to just gallop away on the Hecarim, even had ultimate if things got particularly hairy. Apple getting these kills is so important because he was in a rough spot. He was laning against a 12-stack Magi's Rumble, building into armor. He had a Glacial Shroud at the time, now finished the Frozen Heart. If he gets that third purchase, the Spirit Visage we have to expect before the next fight or the decisive fight comes in, those are 2 more items than he realistically should have had, given how ahead Marin was in the early game.
And Muramana was actually just completed right now after 30 minutes, so even later than Frozen's was in the last match.
But when you die at blue buff twice.
Yes, exactly.
Apparently you can't stack so good.
Also, no cooldown boots yet either, so he hasn't been able to.
The Bloodthirst is very early, though. He's committed into. It's a very defensive choice. Probably going to need it, as you mentioned, the Explosive Cast and the Terrifier, 2 great ways to split the double AD threat. They don't have a lot of peel either. We did not foresee a game where at 30 minutes things were even. And suddenly, we're talking about comps where IM have a lot of options to disrupt SKT.
Yeah, they do. Still a siege advantage for SKT, but the ease of engage as Bang eats a hook. Definitely there for LZIM. As long as Apple can pull it off, that peel really non-existent. That's probably one of the reasons why EasyHoon has picked it up. Apple coming around for the side. They may have caught Marin again. Marin getting a lot of damage out with the Equalizer. There's the culling coming in. Wolf going to get in there. He's going to block a hook and then use his ultimate. Apple a little low. Apple, going to get the disengage. Nice explosive cast from Tucson.
Tucson's super low though. Will he die with the headbutt pull? If you have to think the answer is yes. Finally falls. He was the hero though. Explosive casting out of the Valkyrie as the poke is still very powerful from Varus.
And SKT going to wrap up a tier 2 turret with the help of Marin's teleport now. How much are they going to go for right here? It looks like they want to retreat over to the Baron, start to clear this out. Maybe they can force something with the jungler down. They're just going to start doing the Baron actually.
Scrying Orb not available from Raw. He's not even in the area to do it, so they're going to try and burn it down. Oh, they have the Leandris up from Rumble. There's no real way to contest with Gragas dead, and it's a free Baron for SK Telecom.
It's a really good call from SKT. Only that one person down, but they clear the area extremely quickly. And given that a lot of people were chunked out from the Equalizer earlier, they're actually able to get it absolutely for free and then transition straight into a dragon afterward, it would seem.
Yeah, and Bengi's gone super aggressive. His home guards actually let him get really deep vision, and they're both going to be cleared, so no validity to that particular clear, though the dragon hasn't respawned. It's up in 40 seconds. So they're just trying to get as much vision as possible. Do you ever opt into a dragon fight against a Baroned up SKT for just dragon number 3 for SKT?
No. No, you would not, sir. That is what I say.
We've seen stranger things. Samsung don't listen to that call very often.
It's true. Well, that is one of the main factors that separates them from being a top-tier team. Thank you for pointing that out.
We'll see them in our next series, perhaps making some adaptations to their plans of team fighting with top lane Rek'Sai and opting into Baron fights for second Baron.
I just want more Bard. Luna's playing today, so that's what I'm hoping for, Papa.
The Bard dream is real. We still haven't seen a sweet Bard, but we'll accept the Luna Bard.
Still the best Bard player I've seen so far has been Luna. Just on an individual level, and okay, Dragon pulled out of the pit. Lots of wards already collected in the back for IM. Now Wolf going to look to run, and there we go. Nice steal from Tucson. Good hook from Ignar, because Wolf was looking to punt the Gragas back over the wall when he was coming for body slam. So by tying him up, they got the combo down, and a good steal.
And to demonstrate how big that was, Cassiopeia and Lucian were both top lane. They weren't looking to fight at all. It was steal or just give away a free kill on the Gragas. They pick it up, get out as well. And suddenly, if they need this 5th Dragon as a win condition, it's looking very, very late for SKT.
That was just great understanding of what Wolf was trying to do.
The Explosive Cast kind of just lackadaisically thrown out. That's maybe apt, given that how Gragas usually throws out that ability. So, yeah, it's wasted in this thing. It's just one of their main disruptions is gone. And look at that poke onto Roy. Just one Q and he's at half health.
It's the Wrath Elixir, though, so maybe he can lifesteal just a hair. But no, that poke dealing about 50% of Frozen's HP. And this looks like it may be a little bit tough to hold on to. They need another minion wave. There it is. And SKT marching forward inexorably to this inhibitor destruction right now. Death Sentence not going to catch anybody.
And when the poke lands, even the engage hope of Apple, who we mentioned, has great options to get into the backline of SKT. Just doesn't mean a lot when both your threats are chunked out to half health with one spell.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for SK Telecom now. It got a little bit hairy there for a while, but that poke now from EasyHoon,
just disgusting.
In form, also has the Hex Drinker just in case that Cassiopeia or that Gragas managed to land too much on him right there.
Finally, the pressure is relieved as SKT back away. They got gold to spend. Marin's probably just feeling a bit sheepish about how many Magi stacks he has. He was over 10, and now
he's got 3.
Got 3. Doesn't feel good. Not worth.
12-3.
Not the kill score this game. It's actually all even at 11-11. Dragons as well, but SKT got so much done with that Baron. Both their assertiveness in picking out Barons when they know that there's such a low risk of steal, and in that case with the Gragas dead, almost 0% chance to steal. Remember, it's an Ignite Hecarim, not a Smite Hecarim. And then they just get the most out of the Barons. We've seen teams struggle to break Tier 2 turrets. SKT with Baron routinely break the base.
They really do just maximize some of the edges given to them. And in this game right there, turning that one kill into a Tier 2, and then the Baron right afterwards shows their decisiveness and their knowledge of what the limits are. They just adapt so well on the fly, depending on who has summoners, who's chunked out on the enemy team, where and how they can make plays. Their calls, except for some individual face-checking this game, have been quite good, and that did extend the game pretty significantly. Martin's first death, forgivable, because his team was taking a dragon while he was doing it. That's definitely something you could do to accelerate the pace and maybe take some more towers while everyone is committing to that top side just for a single kill. But beyond that, SKT looking strong.
I guess the only issues I'd level at this SKT lineup is just a lot of the individual misplays have been from EasyHoon. Is that because he hasn't had an extended run with the team this season? I guess we don't really know the answer, but routinely, twice in fact in a row, caught out at blue, walking into areas where they don't have any ward control. Unnecessary mistakes, unforced mistakes if you're a tennis fan. Will he see much game time? It's one thing to play against IM, Samsung, and Spenu, but he has not been tried whatsoever against the top 5.
Yeah, well, I think part of it, too, is that Faker's form this season has been pretty spectacular so far. And Faker really on track right now. If he can keep this form up to one of the best seasons of League of Legends by any player ever. Just given his statistics, given the way that he's been able to absolutely take over games in this league.
And to me, that's the notable thing. It's not just him playing good against worse opposition. He single-handedly won a difficult game against CJ with that Victor performance where he shrugged off all the other lanes, put on the hard yards for himself, and pulled it off. That's what's really made this season notable for him, is that he's in the best team, but he's also winning games off his own bat.
Yeah, exactly. That hard carry status? Well, as we watch this wave slowly move forward, they're going to catch Tucson on the side, but not much gained right there. Here comes the dive. Wolf with the knock-up on Ignar as the tower goes down. Pretty mediocre equalizer.
Easy for them to move away, but the poke is still so strong. EasyHoon, despite being caught out, despite his negative KDA, is still hitting for massive damage on that Varus, and he's had the blue buff regularly this game. Been able to rein in poke in SKT. The full court press with the minions in bottom.
Here comes the engage. TP going down on the flank. Hail of Arrows going to slow down Apple just a little bit. That'll cut some of his damage. Now the kite. Big Hecarim ult. Going to knock Bang and EasyHoon around, but he doesn't have any more tricks up his sleeve. Meanwhile, Marin on the backside absolutely roasting Roar. Bang still going to get out after Frozen. Finds his way back there in an explosive cask. Tries to get that kill. Marin still quite low. Is able to back off with that scrap shield. There's a knock-up. Apple trying for one last desperate attempt, and it works! He takes out EasyHoon with the horse helicopter.
And the Apple finally does his job. He takes out both backline threats. Marin did a similar thing. He took out Raw himself. But Hecarim's got to that point where even with disengage, even though he couldn't really charge up the devastating charge, there was such a short distance between the ward and the target he got on top of, tangled up both EasyHoon and Bang, and a very even fight between the two teams.
Yeah, they have to be very worried about these super minions at their Nexus turrets right now. They still have that inhibitor advantage for the moment. SKT needs to take a look at this Baron and see what they can get. Marin at least makes his Medjai's gold efficient again.
How many stacks is that? Is that
6.
6? That's gold efficiency, right?
Yep.
Is that correct at 1,400 gold, though?
Yes, because it used to not be gold efficient until 5 stacks, and then they changed it so that at 5, it was automatically gold efficient when it came out, starting at 5 stacks. But it's definitely not very efficient, obviously.
Is it slot efficient even, I guess, is the question, that it's 1,400 gold and is sitting on just about mathematically, but he's not at 6 items yet, so doesn't even have to consider selling it. This would be the 3rd dragon. The second one was skillfully stolen away by IM last time around. It seems like SKT are taking extra precautions this time.
Well, they actually did it pretty safely last time. It was just a nice play by Ignar and Tucson. Good teamwork right there. Going to try for it again. Tucson in the pit. Explosive cast. Can he get it? And the answer is yes, he can. But Equalizer finds Ignar. Ignar definitely going to die for this. And now you have to ask, was it worth it? Because that is going to be a free Baron.
And Apple never got the angle to get an engage. Still has the ultimate available. The Onslaught Shadows couldn't be used. He's actually going to be face-checked by multiple people here, but has to back away. They do not want to give up Baron, but once again, Baron spawns. They have no smite. 3v5 doesn't really sound like a great option, but what else can IM do?
Well, Apple also just doesn't have the TP for the big engage right here to go back to base and try and make something of it. He has to be worried about Rumble's poke, and Bengi just going to go ahead and tank this one out. Finally, EasyHoon and Bang start piling the damage on. And that's going to be them giving it up. So IM right there really overcommitting for that dragon and trading a dragon for 2 deaths and a Baron. Not something you want to do unless it's number 5.
Yeah, not even number 4, not even a 6-minute timer. We're still talking about 12 minutes, 53 minutes if there was going to be that triumphant 5th dragon for IM. They're going to need another massive play from Apple with the teleport when the siege inevitably comes once again with the Baron buff minions. And any mistake, if Apple cannot tie up and kill both EasyHoon and Bang, this game will be over and SKT will take a 2-0 victory.
Marin's just so huge right now as well. That's one of the major problems we see him. It's like selling his Medjai's finally. It did have 11 stacks there in the end, and he decides an Abyssal Scepter's a better buy. I agree with you, Marin.
You think so?
I do.
That's just 20 stacks, as you mentioned. It's just not slot efficient. That's why he's able to sell it, buy something much more slot efficient. Benki's getting cute, and there's a lot of people here.
Well, he's trying to split push with that Baron buff. Benki just gets caught out on the side, but as we say that, everyone from SKT is in that mid lane. Just Apple left to defend, so how dearly will they pay for it? Inhibitor turret down, Inhibitor going to fall as well, so that is well worth it for SK Telecom.
They don't even get some sort of a team fight that might bring them back, although Apple's going to hold in. He's going to take out EasyHoon. At least he's going to lose a lot of his attention. This time he's not tanky enough. Tucson is going to die as well. EasyHoon's only available for max range poke, but 3v5 or 3v4 is again the scenario for LZIM.
And now, as a result of that engagement, they're going to lose another inhibitor. Man up for SK Telecom. That's it. Taking it out.
Aaron takes a lot of damage though. He's going to fall. Frozen does trade his life as well, and Bang is so powerful. Going to Valkyrie in, 700 damage crit. Takes him out, although the reverse kill comes through from Raw. Raw's going to ensure the game doesn't end now, but the base in tatters and all of this from an overcommittal.
He has to worry about getting within headbutt pulls range and then getting that turned around because Easy Hoon and Wolf could easily kill him.
IM's late game decision making has kind of been one of their demons this season, and sending 4 members to deal with the split push from Rek'Sai just doesn't seem like it's playing the map very intelligently.
No, that's really desperation too, because even after Bengi comes back up, that Void Rush going to put him right back into the mix.
And the worrying thing is that if he had one defensive ward to give him advanced notions, just ult somewhere else on the map, ult towards the other 5 and keep pushing. So they got lucky. He didn't have any vision whatsoever. I guess he didn't even have tremor sensors on because he was caught by 4 members. They got the kill they wanted, but lost the base.
Marin keeps selling his Sork shoes with home guards and then rebuying them, and now he's finally, at long last, decided that it's Merc Treads that he wants. Instead, wants to reduce that CC just a little bit.
This is a rare thing, Monte Cristo, but the most CS on the team is actually Rumble at 383 CS. Not in the game. I was about to say that. In this case, Raw has all the gold, and I guess he's been split pushing a lot, but I think it's a sign of the fact that he just had that extra gold and that extra AP to actually push waves at a regular clip on Rumble.
Bang, you getting hooked. No follow-up. Part of that, though, is that Marin, he's like top 5 in terms of GPM in this league, so he routinely does very well above pretty much every other, I think, mid and AD except for Faker and OQ.
And that's why the unique thing about what you're saying is that he's a top laner in the top 5 GPM. Almost never the story, usually having to deal with scraps.
Or lane swaps.
Or lane swaps, absolutely. And
so
look, that still happens for Marin.
Yeah, and that's absolutely crazy that in the current meta he can have... That is a Zerat portal.
Okay.
Wolf.
Okay.
It's the first time we've seen that in competitive play.
Has it been used?
Yeah, it's used right here.
There it is. Look at the siege coming through from the Zerat portal. There's not really much of one, although there's a flank coming through from Apple. He's going to actually tie up Bang, get him to half health. Equalizer splits up the threats. Frozen in the backline, taking a lot of damage.
Oh my, Marin.
See another person fall.
Marin Zonia's right there was very well placed to create the zone. Bengi flashing forward right now. He's going to try and clean up this fight. Easy Hoon with the flash forward as well. Wants to get the hail of arrows down. Lands it on Tucson. Tucson barely escapes right there, but Roar trying to dash to the side. Doesn't end up making it. Bang finishes him off, and now Apple's back. Desperately trying to get some kills and defend his Nexus.
And look, with the low health bars, once again, might stave off the end of the game, but with this teleport from Marin, maybe not.
Well, Marin still getting chunked very heavily by Frozen. Gonna try and turn it around right now. Marin gets the overheat. Bang picks up the kill, and now SKT has just a naked Nexus to deal with. Apple exhausted. I don't know if he's going to be able to kill anybody right here. Apple actually
things are happening.
It does take out maybe 3 people. No. Dies in the end. Bang with the finisher has that Trinity Force onto the Nexus. So SKT nowhere near as clean as game 1, but they still take the 2-0.
Yeah, some puzzling mid-game decisions. The Medjai's rush was a bit cute